The Public Water Sewer Advisory Board actually came about as a result of Act 537, which the state of Pennsylvania enacted in 1966, realizing that we had to move from outhouses to more developed, advanced facilities for treating wastewater here in the state of Pennsylvania. So 537, I'm sure most of you heard that number over the years. That's the actual act, as the Doylestown Township is required to have a sewage management plan in place that gets presented to the Department of Environmental Protection. I can assure you the amount of work that goes into this plan is just tremendous. Without exaggeration, if you remember phone books back in the day of how thick they were, that's about how thick the 537 plan is. So much for the Paperwork Reduction Act that the government had instituted. The purpose of the plan here in the township is to make sure that we meet the goals and objectives established in the plan. The most important thing, though, is to ensure the protection of the public's health from the impacts of improper sewage disposal. I know it's I got some funny images up there, but some of those are actually true images that you could find throughout the township depending on what time of year it is and how wet the grounds are. In addition to a 537, there's also the ability to do amended, as it says up there, minor act revisions, which are known as 3Ms. And recently this year we had an opportunity within the township. There's a particular area that needed some to be reviewed for an extension for some sewers, and we took a look at it and we met with DEP, and it turned out we didn't have to do an entire upgrade to our 537 plan. We were able to just go ahead and submit a 3M component. For those of you that are not aware of what a septic system looks like underneath the ground, this will give you an idea. Basically, you have an outlet that comes out of the home into a tank that grabs all of the waste. The liquid effluent, as it's called, goes out into a drainage field. On the left-hand side is a traditional septic system. On the right-hand side is a sand mound. If you've ever seen those elevated mounds that people have had to put in place because their in-ground systems are failing. Our township has a septic or sewage enforcement officer. That's done through the health department, and they're responsible for making sure that all the residents have systems that are working properly. If you have a problem, they're also I got to tell you, the guys over at the Bucks County Health Department are extremely knowledgeable, extremely helpful in working with the residents. The advisory board has been working on numerous projects. One of them is hopefully coming to fruition in the very near future. It's been a project that's been on the board for about 14 years in the making. It's like it's like the Star Wars trilogy. Someday we'll get this thing up in a movie form up there on the screen when it finally happens. We were hoping it was going to be, we actually would be able to break ground before Dick retired, but unfortunately, we'll have to invite him back for a special groundbreaking when it finally takes place. Because as with everything else in the township, Dick is also greatly involved in the Public Water and Sewer Advisory Board. There's nothing that Dick's not involved in, by the way.
It's the most active board I was on.
And we appreciate all of the help. The advisory board has several areas of responsibility. One of them is education. We've worked on, if you go onto the township website, you'll see not necessarily these slides, but there's a lot of information on there for how to manage your septic system, how to take care of it, how to avoid problems with your system, what to do if you do have a problem. All that information is up there on the township website. And this is actually a shot from the screen on the website. We, years back, the township enacted a septic management program So there are cycles 1, 2, and 3. Anybody with a septic system knows that where they get their annual letter, tells them what cycle they're in, when they need to have their septic systems pumped. It's a 3-year cycle, along with the time that you need to get your well water tested also. The malfunctions. Malfunctions are determined by a definition the state of Pennsylvania has put out through DEP, and basically it's one that it's pretty obvious. If you go out and you look on your lawn, and it's in the middle of summer here in Bucks County. I moved here 22 years ago from North Jersey. Bucks County's August are very unique in the sense that it's like a dry desert here. So if you look outside and you see a puddle on your lawn where your septic system leaves the house and your leach field is, most likely you have a problem with your septic system. Another thing that might show is excessive grass. So when my lawn is dying, except for this one giant green patch where the outlay is from the septic system outside of the house, that's another telltale sign that you have a problem with your septic system. Because when all your neighbors' lawns have turned to dust and yours is nice bright green in this isolated area, most likely you have a problem. Comments from residents, we've gotten them over the years on both sides of the aisle. There's been plenty of people said, I don't have a problem, as they step through their yard and, their spongy yards, as they are watching, their septic systems overflow, they sort of look to the side, no, I really don't have a problem. The other thing is we've had over the years a lot of public comment that people said, well, it's only occasionally. Well, you don't occasionally have the DEP sort of frowns about people who have a problem only occasionally, because most likely your neighbor really is not going to be that happy if occasionally you have a problem with your septic system and it's flowing into their yard. Again, people have, over the years, hey, I got, it smells, it's wet, it's this, it's that. The issue is it comes down to the science after all. And anybody who has attended any of our meetings in the past or presentations I've given here at the township building knows that we've done a lot of work in conjunction with over at the Bucks County the college within the area over at Del Val. They've provided a lot of assistance with regards to the types of soils that we have in this area, numerous letters from the health department, and the short of it is, and you can go on and read this information, the soil in the area really isn't meant for septic systems. We really don't have really good soil in most of the areas within the township. Lots of documentation. When you look up on the map that's up here on the board, this is strictly one small area in the township. This is the Pebble Ridge area that we're waiting to break ground on in the near future. And anywhere where you see all that purple mauve color, those are soils that are high in content in clay and don't perk well, and a septic system probably should never have been built there in the first place. We talked about the sewage management plan. We also deal with taking a look at the how well everybody's water is, because most people are in the area. We're not on public water from DTMA. You have your private wells, and it's important to have, if you go back and you saw my one of my presentation slides earlier on, all that water, that effluent that comes out of your septic system, it's supposed to get filtered through the soils and it goes right back into the groundwater. Well, if your system's not working properly and it's not filtering through the groundwater or through the ground properly, you can end up with fecal coliform, and that's untreated wastewater getting into your water system. And what you're seeing here on this chart was a result of there are stream discharge points throughout the township that get tested on an annual basis. And this is a shot from back in 2009 and 2010. 2010 is when there was a one of the cycles in this area of this part of the township where they had to start pumping. And once they pumped the septic systems out that year, the fecal coliform rate dropped dramatically. But you'll see without that pumping system how high the fecal coliform rate was found within the area. A lot has gone into all the different areas of the township that we look at. The same process gets followed. There's a lot of soil data. There's data on the amount of rainfall that takes place during certain times. There's on-site visits. There's a lot that goes into trying to determine if there's an area in a township that needs to be worked on. Mentioned Pebble Ridge is finally coming to conclusion. This is a map of the entire township with regards to the existing sewer systems. And this is the type of work that we look at. We are looking at other sections of the township at the moment that may need to have sewers in the future. We work with the health department, whereby we get vast amounts of reports and data from a 10, 15-year period. We crunch the numbers. We look for properties that have had malfunctions, properties that have had repairs, properties that have had water issues, issues with regards to fecal coliform in well water test reports, and we crunch all those numbers and spend a vast amount of time with the help of Autumn and a team here at the Township Building to develop these maps, whereby we are able to look for hot spots within the township, and those are areas that we focus on first with regards to potential sewer projects in the future. And these are just two of the current areas that we're evaluating throughout the township. That's it. Anybody have any questions?
There's a lot going on with the Sewer Advisory Committee. Stand by for further information next couple months.
That's right.
All right, thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Thank you very much for all your work.